Okay, I'm going for the gold tonight, guys. Because I've been bullshitting. And, go to working on stuff like this, and I never complete it, or I become overwhelmed or engulfed, or I don't know where to start and stop back. So I completed this. So I'm like, I'm about to complete reading it tonight as well. I might post part two a little later. I want to see the reviews of part one first, maybe. But no matter what or how I post it, I said I'm completing this tonight. F that. So yeah, I was the seeming envy of all women, and I had a man who would come home every night, cook, clean, and keep all the bills paid, pay him early. You know what I'm saying? But little did anyone know of how cold and how feeling he was privately, how he never initiated romance or sex, or how he'd throw everything he was doing for me up in my face, noting how he couldn't wait for me to get my own so as to no longer, he couldn't wait for me to get my own to no longer be a burden to him. I'm sorry, guys. How I was without a car or even a doctor or a dentist visit for 7 years since he never added me onto his plan. And forgive me, guys, if my flow slows or is a little jerky, because when you're dealing with real experience, real happenings, like real emotions pop up, and this portion of the writing goes deeper than the latter because it's my personal experience. So forgive me for any jerkiness on that end. But yeah, since he never added me onto his insurance plan. Now, all the while, he'd be getting semi-annual health and dental checkups and visits, monthly manis and petties and etc. And there was a time I noticed the knot near his ankle and urged him to get it checked out. And come to find out, it was filled with oil, which in time may have worsened and given him trouble later in life, so that it turned out to be beneficial for him to get it checked out and removed at that time. And so he feigned gratitude. Yet when I was in the midst of a massive toothache, would never make a similar suggestion to me. Never hinted at marriage or children. Yet I help him build and manage his empire. Was first to give him the idea of taking it over, because he initially started out working for someone other. Then actually helped him in writing up the contract and the proposal to do just that, take over this business. I helped him find his calling and build a home. A home we moved everything into together. I single-handedly built the bed that he probably still sleeps in to this day, in addition to the dining table and chairs he probably still eats on to this day, since he was never that handy. Oops. In actuality, he was a functioning illiterate who couldn't have read the instructions to piece it together for himself. When he lost his car and had to ride the bus for a few months, something I had been doing for years, he became overwhelmed and frustrated, so much so that he reached out to mommy and daddy, who were relatively well off, and within a few weeks, sent him a vehicle all the way from Ohio to Florida. Now, by this time, mind you, both of my parents had passed. And this is around about the same time that it dawns on me that I've always been stronger, more resilient, and independent than I had ever given myself credit for. And if I could survive him, a man providing just enough to keep me in need so as to never leave, so that he could continue siphoning and draining me of my energy to manifest his own destiny, that I decided I could survive anything. It's right around the time that I left. With each argument came heavy reminders that by law, everything was his and I could leave. Of course, these sort of things are only said after, I've refurbished and improved every aspect of his once pathetic existence. The once pathetic existence he called a life. When we first met, he was an admittedly depressed hermit and hoarder. No fun, not being funny, guys. Speaking factually. So yes, an admittedly depressed hermit and hoarder living in squalor, a dark one-bedroom apartment filled with clutter, newspapers, boxes, dated, worn out, tattered clothing and shoes, a couch that if you sat on, you would fall through, dust bunnies, dirt, and mold everywhere. I brought this man back to life and pulled him out of the trenches of depression. Fast forward to him taking credit for it all. If this video ever finds its way to family and friends who might wonder why he stays single and whatever happened to me, your uncle, brother, son, relative has been struggling with bipolar depression for years, stunting his progress, evolution, and growth. Somewhere along the way in key developmental years, this deficit was discovered. It's no doubt in my mind that it was. And instead of it being worked through or even medicated, if need be, the theory was reinforced that so long as someone appears normal, they may as well be. When in actuality, all of the effort to cover up was create a Jekyll and Hyde complex. Let me read that back. When that the theory was reinforced that so long as someone appears normal, they must be, when in actuality, all of the effort to cover up was create a Jekyll and Hyde complex, coupled with deep-seated frustration over coupled with deep-seated frustration over not only being a failure, but also a fraud who never had to fend nor fight for or earn anything independently in life. Someone who falls into depression so easily due to having no coping ability, dignity, identity, or pride, which are all consequences of having carved out one's own life and becoming your own person, adulthood. The resentment, rage, and wrath oftentimes stem from the angst of being existentially entrapped in a perpetuation of psychological childhood as a fully grown adult. A dark-sided Pisces man will steal your identity, life, esteem, and soul, and discard them right along with your memory into a bottomless black abyss. This has been a depiction of the dark-sided Pisces man.